Seeing as some of us are still currently in quarantine, maybe you haven't had the luxury of getting a haircut. For myself, we actually have under a dozen cases currently active in my city. So I have had the luxury of going to get a haircut as well as doing like a self-cut system for myself that I've done in the last couple months just to kind of maintain my hairstyle. But if you're looking for a new hairstyle, maybe you want to do something like what I've got going on right now, sort of this, curtains hairstyle, center part type of thing. I urge you to watch this video because in the last 2 or 3 months that I've been doing this hairstyle, I've learned a few techniques that have really made it easy for me to kind of nail down the look, especially in the last week or so. I've really kind of built a good foundation around this hairstyle that I've been able to sort of manage and obtain this specific look that we are going for with this hairstyle. And also, just before we get into the actual hairstyle part of the video, I just want to make a point that if you have straighter or wavier hair, this hairstyle is a lot easier to achieve just because your hair can kind of do what you want it to a little bit easier. If you have super curly hair, it can be difficult to get that look that we're going for. And also on that same note, just because you have curly hair doesn't mean you can't achieve the look, and just because you have straight or wavy hair doesn't mean you can also achieve it. It's kind of like you need to find that middle ground of balancing out the straight versus curly hair and kind of meet somewhere in the middle and kind of build the hairstyle around that hair type. And believe it or not, I actually do have a really weird curl in the front of my hair. Doing this technique kind of gets rid of that entire curl altogether. But if I don't do it, then the right side of my head kind of just wants to grow straight out, and doing this technique kind of makes it grow up and kind of fall over like what we're kind of going for. But if I don't do it, then the right side of my head wants to just kind of go straight out to the side like that. So if you guys have seen my past videos, I've been rocking some sort of center part for probably 3 months now. And within those 3 months, I found it very beneficial with this hairstyle and also sort of challenging in its own way as well. Personally, for myself, I've never done any sort of center part hairstyle. This is the very first time I've ever had a center part hairstyle. So it has been a challenge in that sense because I'm kind of learning a new way to style my hair. But on the same note, it's very beneficial because I'm just now starting to learn techniques to really nail down the actual look that I'm going for. But I've definitely had my days where my hair just does not want to cooperate. So just because you nail down the hairstyle one day doesn't mean you'll nail it down the next. It's definitely a work in progress that you kind of have to, get used to and master until you can get to the point where you can do it every day. For myself, I'm not quite at that point because I'm still kind of learning the hairstyle and my hair type as I'm styling this sort of look. But I've definitely found out a few techniques that have helped me kind of achieve this overall look that I'm going for. And the thing that's great about this hairstyle, if you're still kind of on edge about trying it out, is that it really doesn't matter if it's perfect. It's supposed to be a very natural looking hairstyle. So if you have hairs that are out of place one day and hairs that are perfectly in place the next day, it's perfectly fine because this is a very natural and loose looking hairstyle. My hair looks different literally every day. Some days it curls, weird ways, and the other days it sits pretty flat like it is right now. So like I said, it is a very versatile hairstyle and you really don't have to worry about it throughout the day. It's generally a pretty versatile hairstyle when it comes to keeping it clean or keeping it sort of natural and messy looking. So originally when I started doing this hairstyle, I kind of figured it's obviously a center part hairstyle. So what I'm gonna do is comb it straight back and then part it down the center and then just blow dry it that way and blow dry this side that way. And I mean, it worked fine, but it definitely was lacking some sort of creativity to it almost, and it just wasn't really the hairstyle that I wanted. It was very flat to my head and just kind of looked awkward. And more recently, I have found a way to get this sort of M style going on. Just hear me out for a sec, as weird as it sounds. Take a look at the McDonald's M logo, and that is essentially the shape that we are going for with this hairstyle. So it's kind of like lower in the middle, kind of comes up, peaks, and then curls down on both sides of your head. Again, as weird as it sounds, that's kind of the shape that we're going for. It's a really weird analogy to use, but I felt like it was appropriate because that is the goal of today's video. So with all that being said, that is what I'm hoping to show you guys in today's video, essentially how to get that natural and loose looking hairstyle like I currently have with that sort of M shape that we were originally going for. So like every other video, I'm going to start off with wet hair. And the reason why I start off with wet hair is because it gives your hair a blank canvas to work with. If you do have clean hair, that's probably best, but you can do it with rinsed hair just like I'm doing in this video. And also with my hair wet, I can kind of show you the dimensions of my hair a little bit better. So in the fringe, it's probably somewhere around 5 to 6 inches, in that range. It does get shorter at the crown of my head, somewhere around 2.5 to 3 inches. On the sides, it starts at number 2 and blends up to about 1/2 inch around the top. And then along the back, it starts at a number 2 and blends in to the crown of my head. Now with all that out of the way, we can actually get started with the hairstyle, and I'm going to start off with a typical hairspray. Now there's nothing special about this hairspray. It doesn't give any sort of volume or anything like that. This is just to protect my hair from the heat of the blow dryer. And once my hair is completely coated in the hairspray, I'm going to comb it through with a wide tooth comb. Now this is optional, you can use any sort of comb that you really want, but I found that wide tooth combs give the least amount of pulling. So now when it comes to actually blow drying my hair, I'm going to set my blow dryer to a medium to high heat setting with a lot of airflow. If that's an option, you definitely want to go for that setting. The first step that I'm going to do, which is kind of the main step of this whole video, is essentially you're going to grab the front of your hair in the middle of your head and you're going to curl it up with a brush and blow dry it straight up. What this is going to do is it's going to dry the hair in the middle really quick, and it's also going to dry it with the roots of your hair going straight up, and then naturally gravity is going to kind of pull your hair down on both sides of your head, creating that natural part. Now again, this is supposed to be a natural looking hairstyle, so if it's not perfectly centered, don't worry. Your hair at the end of the day will do what it wants to do, so if it's not perfectly centered, it's not a big deal. It'll look center the next day or the day after that. So for the rest of my head, I don't really use a brush for the sides too much. I do for the back because the top crown of my head is a little bit too short, so it doesn't always lay perfectly flat down the back of my head. But when it comes to the sides and even the front a little bit, I typically don't show this in videos, but I do kind of lean forward and let my hair naturally fall and blow dry it that way. And the reason why I do this is it's essentially going to let your hair free flow and kind of go where it wants to. So if you do have any of those natural curls in your hair, doing this technique is going to give a lot of those curls the sort of freedom to let them dry how they want to dry. And it's also going to give a lot more volume and texture in your overall hairstyle. And again, for the sides of my head, I don't typically use a brush too often. I do like to kind of grab the roots with a brush and kind of curl it outwards to give a little bit more volume, but for the sides of my head, I kind of just let them naturally dry with the blow dryer. And I don't typically use a brush because I don't like my hair looking super flat and straight with this sort of hairstyle. Now to finish off the look, I applied Ocean Clay, which is my all-time favorite product. It's worked for every hairstyle that I've ever had and continues to work with this one. Normally when applying my product, I tell you guys to coat your hair before shaping it into the desired style. But for this hairstyle, I actually do the complete opposite, applying the product from the very front of my hair and gently coating it all the way through to the back of the head. As I'm applying it like this, I'm applying no pressure to the hair because I don't want it to feel super clumpy, but I'm coating it enough to give it a thick separation and good texture. Coating the top of the hair will also help taming stray hairs and flyaways as well. And by the way, like always, start with less product and add more if you need, but with a natural hairstyle like this, I don't typically use a lot. And there it is. That is my typical go-to hairstyle nowadays. And as you can see, we've absolutely nailed down that McDonald's look. All jokes aside, I hope you guys can take something from this video and adapt it into your own hairstyling techniques. And with the hairstyle being all said and done, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please be sure to click that subscribe button if you're new. The products that I've used in today's video will also be linked down below in the description, along with my Instagram, which showcases a little bit more of the fashion side of things. Definitely be sure to go follow me on there if that's something you are interested in. And with that being said, I will see you all in the next one.